morning, everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful green onion truffle cream cheese. It's a raw cheese, and I'm only going to make a small batch to show you today. And I'm going to use, I've been soaking, I'm not sure if you can see it, some beautiful cashews. I've soaked 1 cup, and I'm going to add that to my Vitamix. And into that, I'm going to add some water. But I'm not going to use plain water. I'm going to use a little bit of Rejuvelac. Okay. So I made this Rejuvelac yesterday. It's not as strong as the one that I would use in my my aged cheese. So I'm just going to use about 1/8 of a cup. And this has more of a tangy flavor to it rather than a cheesy taste. So I put 1/8 of a cup of Rejuvelac. And if you don't have Rejuvelac made, just add some water. Okay, so now what I'm also going to use is a little bit of lime juice. You can use lemon if you don't want to use lime, but I prefer the lime. And I'm going to use, let's see, where's my measuring spoon? About a tablespoon, and maybe just a little more. So I would say the juice of half a lime. There we go. So we've got our Rejuvelac, we have our lime juice, and now we're going to add a little bit of agave. And this is a nice, I'm not sure if you can see it, I have a nice raw agave that I'm going to use. And you really don't need that much of it, so I'm just going to put just a little drop. We don't want it too sweet. Cashews are already sweet, so we just need a little drop. I'd say about maybe a half a teaspoon of raw agave. We're going to need some salt, and I'm using gray salt, and I would say about half a teaspoon of salt. And if you need more, you could always add it at the end. Now, there's a little trick you can use to make your nuts taste cheesy, and it's miso. But you need a light miso, and I'm going to use about, I'd say, we're going to start like about maybe a half a tablespoon of miso. So we're going to drop that in. I usually do my cheeses by eye, so I'm measuring it for you, so you have an idea how much I use. And if I want some more, I will just add it later. So we're using a light miso. This one that I'm using is an organic white soybean miso. Okay, we need a little bit of garlic, and I'm going to use a very tiny clove of garlic. And now for the magic truffle oil. I'd say about maybe half a teaspoon, because truffle has a very strong taste to it. So here we go, a half a teaspoon of truffle oil will go into this mixture. And this is going to make a nice cream cheese. You can put it on crackers. So let's do this. I'm going to use my wand to push the nuts down. Here we go. Alright, we're going to turn this on, first on low, and then I'm going to jack it up. Here we go. See? We're just going to check it. That's really good. We do need to mix it a little more, but before we do that, I need to add a few more things. I have xanthan gum. This is an emulsifier, and it just nice. It brings everything together. So I'm just going to use about 1/8 1/8 of a teaspoon of xanthan gum. And I'm going to get some starch. I'll be right back. Here we go. I'm going to use a little bit of tapioca starch. You can use cornstarch if you want, but I'm going to use tapioca. And I'm going to use about half a tablespoon of tapioca starch to the mixture. Let me just set this up. There we go. And we're going to continue with the process. There you go. It's nice and thick. It can be a little thicker. Now, I measured 1 cup of cashews, but I would say maybe 1.5 cups instead of the cup, because I'd like it a little thicker. But since I don't have the cashews, I do have some almonds soaking, so I'm going to take a little bit of almonds and I'm going to add it to the mixture, and I'm going to make it thicker. So here we go. I do have some almonds already soaking, so I'm just going to steal some from this bag. So you really can't make any mistakes. You have to, if you see your cheese is still not thick enough, just refrigerate the batch that you have in your Vitamix, put a couple of extra cashews soaking or almonds, and soak them for at least 2 hours, and then just add them to your mixer. So you really can't go wrong. You have to play it by ear. And because I don't usually measure my recipes, not that I don't measure, because I pretty much cook the way my mom did. You cook by feel. If you like the taste, if you don't like the taste, you add more ingredients. So you really can't make mistakes. Like I said, if you find that it's not thick enough for you, all you have to do is put this into the refrigerator and just soak a couple of nuts extra, and then just throw it back in. And you don't need to soak them more than 2 hours. 2 hours is good enough for soaking. And then just throw it into your batch, reblend it, and you're going to get a thicker cheese. So I'm going to pulse this up. Okay, so we did need 1.5 cups of soaked cashews. So instead of the, let me just bring this down a bit, instead of just the 1 cup that I did soak. And luckily I had some almonds in my refrigerator already soaking, so I did use that. But this is now the texture that we have, which is a nice texture. We're going to be adding some chopped green onions to the recipe, and it will also get a little thicker as it sits in the fridge. But this is really, really good. So I'm going to get myself a small bowl. Okay, so I kind of changed up my recipe. I made it 2 cups of cashews soak. So I did soak some more nuts again. And I will say 2 cups of cashews that should be soaked. And then the rest of the ingredients I gave you is going to make that perfect cheese. Check it. It should be perfect now. And that's what's good about this. You can never really go wrong. So yes, 2 cups, soaking 2 cups of cashews is the way to go. And then the rest of the ingredients I threw in makes just a perfect tasting cheese. And this is the fun part about making videos, and I'm learning at the same time as you're learning. We learn every day. We learn how to cook, and something new. And we learn with our mistakes, but everything is fixable. So here we go. I'm just going to put this aside, and we're just going to add it. Not sure if you catch it. There you go. I'm going to add my nut cheese into a bowl, So you really can't go wrong. If you find that your mixture is not thick enough the way you like it, I mean, you might want yours to be even thicker than this. So if that's the case, you know that you may want to add 2.5 cups of cashews. So you really can't go wrong. And that's the fun part about food. Taste it and see if you want to add something to it. But this makes, it's almost like a mascarpone cheese. I do have a recipe for mascarpone. I'm going to do one of those for you guys. If you're Italian, you know what I mean when I say mascarpone cheese. It's a very expensive cheese. But so good. So I'm going to try and get all the cheese from the bottom of this Vitamix. They really should make it, I mean, it's a great machine, but they should make it a little easier for us to get to the bottom of this. Okay, I'll get to it later on. I'll just push this aside. And we'll worry about the rest later. Okay, so I have my cheese. I have it in a bowl. And now I'm going to add a small sprinkle, a pinchful of nutritional yeast, because that adds to the flavors. I'll put this aside. Am I still recording? Yes, I am. Okay. So, I do want a little drop extra of truffle oil. So I'm just going to put a tad. There we go. Because this is strong, so you really don't need that much. I do want an extra sprinkle of salt. And like I said, this is the fun part about tasting your food. Where did I put my salt? There we go. We're just going to put just a little sprinkle. Extra salt. My nutritional yeast. Just a little bit. There you go. Okay, so I have some of these beautiful green onions that I'm going to chop up, and you really don't need that much. We're going to try one and see how that feels when we mix it up. Cutting board, maybe not. There we go. Okay. So, you know that if you throw these back into the soil, if you have a little pot somewhere in your house, if you throw them back into your soil, you will actually grow some more onions. So I'm just going to cut this across the base. There we go. And I'm also going to cut it across the length of the green part of the onion. And then we're just going to sliver everything up. So I say one is more than enough. There we go. And we're just going to cut them really, really fine. Not sure if I've got... We're just going to throw those onto your cheese. And this makes a great cheese for the holidays. You could put this on crackers. You could stuff tiny peppers or little button mushrooms. If you can manage to get some figs, you could also stuff a fig or two. And it's just such a wonderful recipe. And like I said, if you find your cheese is still not thick enough, then just jack up the amount of nuts that you're going to use. And if you find your cheese is too thick and you want to water it down, you could either add extra Rejuvilac or filtered water, or if you want it tangier, just squeeze some more lime or lemon to your cheese. And you are the master of your creation. So and here we go. There we go. We're just going to add just a touch of coconut oil. I'd say about a half teaspoon of coconut oil. You don't want this, because once you refrigerate this coconut oil is going to solidify on you. So you don't want your cheese to be rock hard, but you want it to have a nice firmness to it, and the coconut oil does add a nice creamy rich flavor to your cheese. And because we did put xanthan gum, that coconut oil will not separate on you. It's just going to blend nicely in with your cheese. Just give it a little taste. Wow, I wish you can taste this. This is really, really good. And when we put this into the refrigerator, it's going to marry all the flavors together, and it's going to be just that much better. Now, I could also add some more green onions if I want, and I might do that right now. Remember, it really is up to you how strong you want it, how creamy you want it. If you want to add extra salt, if you want to age it, and if you want to age this cheese even more, the miso is going to add extra probiotics to your cheese along with the Rejuvilac we added. But if you want to age this even more, you can leave this out for a whole day, and it's going to keep fermenting on you. But because we're making a cream cheese, we don't want it too strong. So we're going to refrigerate it as soon as we're finished with what we're adding to it. And then I'll come back and I'm going to show you what you can do with this. It's so pretty. And I have to apologize ahead of time. I sound like I have marbles in my mouth. But I had something happen to me. It's over a month now. And I got what you call Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, where it left half my face paralyzed. And so when I talk, I mean, I'm a lot better now. My face is slowly going back to what it used to be. But when I talk, it sounds like I have marbles in my mouth. So I really do apologize if I don't sound clear. So I did add almost an extra full green onion. And that's just perfect for this recipe. So I'll put this to chill, and I'll show you a little later how I would serve this. So here we go. I made a cute little display of how we can present this this cream cheese, and we can stuff some beautiful figs, or we can layer some cucumber and sprinkle some black salt on top. Or we can just put a dollop on top of a piece of cucumber with some fig, or any other fruit. It could be it could be a little piece of mango, and it's just something very delicious. And you could you could also put your cream cheese in beautiful little jars if you want to give them away as gifts for the holidays when you go visit somebody. And it's that simple. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.